Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with Breaking Bad. Last time on Breaking Bad, we started off the Season 3 premiere, that could have said that better, with No Mas. I believe that's how you say it. There's an accent, but it's only on a one-syllable word. I'm just going to assume it's No Mas. Pretty simple as that. So let's see. It's been 1 week since the plane crash. And because of that, Skylar was like, okay, 2 planes just collided like right above our house. Well, you're getting an extra week, basically. But Skylar has gone to file for divorce. And Jesse is in rehab, or he was in rehab, and he's out of rehab, and he's not going to do drugs anymore, and he has come to terms and accepted responsibility for everything that's happened, especially with Jane. Skylar goes to Walt and says, hey, here's the divorce papers. And Walt is like, what? This is a bit too rash, isn't it? And she's like, dude, you're a drug dealer. And he's like, oh, shit. And she was like, yeah, I won't tell Hank, but leave us the hell alone. So, yeah, it was actually a pretty wild opening episode. We also had a recurring scene of 2 men that went to this one place with a picture of Heisenberg. Then they went to this one family's place, took a bunch of clothes, and then left their car, too, and their fancy suits with them. Then they were on their way to Texas, to cross the Texas border, when people started to realize who they were, so they had to kill all of them and keep going, and that was that. We really don't know what's happening with those 2 guys. The only thing we can really infer is that, well, something against Walt, because they had a picture of Heisenberg, so yeah. That's basically it. Oh, and Walt did go to Gus and said he's out, even though Gus had a job that would have net him in total $3 million. Of course, half of that would go to Jesse, and then, obviously part of that goes to Saul, but still. But he said he's out. We all get the feeling that he's not going to be out. I think even Gus knows, like, okay, you're going to come back. Just go on, eat your food, come back when you're ready. And yeah, that's pretty much that. That's a pretty good recap, actually, so we might as well go ahead and get right into this episode of Breaking Bad. Here we go. After 3 days in the desert, I was looking at a riverbed. Is he just, like, taking a trip? Up?
Pretty sure I wasn't speeding. I've been using the cruise control, so I don't...
No, sir. Your windshield.
Oh.
License and registration, please.
Right.
And that's what shattered my windshield. Some piece of wreckage from the plane.
I understand.
Yeah. You still can't drive around like that, though.
What are you doing?
Citing you, sir.
Yeah.
What? What, you don't believe me?
Sir, regardless of how that windshield was damaged, this car is unsafe to drive in this condition. Stay in the car, please.
Stay in the car. What are you doing?
Oh, you're gonna pepper spray?
You understand
that? That is just perfect. Pepper spray the man who's expressing his opinion under the First Amendment.
Oh. Damn. Those glasses didn't do shit. Wow. I mean, I guess I get it. But come on, man. You had to go get your windshield fixed. He should have said, I'm going to get my windshield fixed. There you go. I want Jesse to grow a beard. Like, I just thought that. Like, he needs a beard in order to, like, complete the character growth. Oh, is this his place?
Hey, Dad. Fixing up the house, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Giving a little work, yeah. You moved the garage. That's bold.
Mother's idea. It's quite an operation.
We did all new stucco, all new master suite, sandblasted, fumigated the basement.
Jesse, you can afford the place.
Right on.
You've got the money. All right, Hank. Time for a talk.
She doesn't want me to see the kids. She said that?
All right, no talk.
It is not a disaster.
Okay.
It's not a disaster, all right?
All right, Saul's gonna
Not
talk.
going to the cops. She's not going to tell a living soul.
I love when this
Wanna
man
know
talks.
why? One word. Blowback. That DEA brother-in-law? Whew, screwed. You were right under his nose. You'll be lucky if they let him bust glue sniffers at the hobby shop. And the house, gone. The feds will come and RICO her and the kids out on the street. Oof, good luck arguing with them on that. No. It's not gonna
Interesting
happen.
approach. All right, man.
She knows it.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess that makes sense.
I can't be the bad guy. I can't be the bad guy.
That's what Jesse said. He doesn't want to be Jesse. Damn.
Don't tell your mom.
Oh, hey. This guy. Cool.
Yeah.
It's me. We may have a wife problem.
Oh, shit.
Look, I need eyes on it.
Okay, just eyes.
You got...
Blake's Lottaburgers.
Hey, buddy, pass ketchup, man.
Marie, what the fuck? The scene just started and you're already being weird.
Flynn here is looking for a part-time job, so I don't know if you know of anything you might want to...
My name's Walter Jr.
Oh,
Like-
shit.
Like, I don't know what your problem is. You may not love him anymore, but I do.
Aw.
I mean, why you gotta be such a
Oh.
bitch?
Oh!
Hey, no.
Hank,
You don't touch your mom.
Hank, it's...
Damn. God, I love that you could see that coming. You knew he was gonna say it.
You want a job?
A job? Who's got a job for me?
I do.
Yeah. What kind of job? Jesse's doing shit. I like it. Oh, hey. Did he just leave? Oh, shit. It's these two. This is not where I thought we were gonna go. Dio. Is he spelling E? Walter. Walter White! Oh my gosh. Man, they're terrifying. They never talk. It's crazy.
What if your kids found out?
If my kids found out?
About the shit you do.
But that whatever I did thinking of them. You know?
Huh.
Trying to provide. And, I'd ask
Exactly
them-
what Walt would say.
I haven't thought that far ahead, Skylar. I'm just trying to keep my head above water.
Huh. Yeah.
Back to it.
I mean, technically, Walt thinks, well, he'll be dead before they know.
Dad, it's your house. Uncle Hank, Aunt Marie, everybody knows that you haven't done anything wrong. Everybody is on your side.
Well, it's not about taking sides, though.
We're here to discuss the sale of the property at 9809 Margot.
I get it. Flat fee clients, am I right? Well, folks,
Jesse's gonna
today's
buy
your
it.
lucky day.
We feel 875 is very fair.
But I suppose there's always a
875,000?
little, wiggle room?
But you wiggle us on down to 400, and you got yourselves a deal.
That's half.
400,000?
half
What
the
is that, a
price.
joke?
Come on, honey.
I don't know. I just thought some allowance was in order once I heard about the meth lab. The one that used to be in the basement. I looked over your signed disclosure statements, and I don't see any mention of a meth lab. No. Oh, you got your termite inspection. That's good.
Okay.
No meth lab.
Saul knows how to play the field.
Would call that. I could file a suit and encumber this property indefinitely, or I could start some criminal proceedings. But I don't think any of us want that. Now, do we? How about it, counselor? Do you concur?
Oh. I love when Saul does shit. What the hell? Did he get pizza?
Okay.
Did he get the world's largest pizza? Oh. And lock. It's the extra slap. Damn it. There's so much pizza. Yeah. Oh, damn. You think that was hard? You think it was hard to launch that pizza up to that roof? Like, wow. It was incredible.
Calm down, accept the situation, and keep your distance. If you can't manage that, I will get a restraining order.
Ooh. Oh! He's the buyer.
That's all we need.
The new owners are expected at any moment. Where do you think you're going?
Inside. Bought the place.
Ha! Later. Yep. He bought it. Walt? No, it's the other guy. Mr. Watcher. What's he doing? Oh, is that pizza? Yeah. That gross ass pizza. There's like a bird shit on it.
Escape your magic arrow.
Is he bugging the place?
You know you can.
What is Walt doing? Is he moving back? Please go save him. Oh no. That's not. Oh shit, it's them. Oh, we're to this already. Okay, I thought it was gonna cut right there. Oh shit. Look at these two. Taking a shower like he owns the place. Asshole. Oh, is that Gus? That guy looks like those two other guys. Oh, they're gonna wait for him? They're gonna wait just with an axe, nothing else. Boyos. Do they work for Gus? Oh dear. They're gone. Man, this show knows how to be terrifying. Alrighty. What an episode, man. What an episode. Walt. Walt is losing it. He's really losing it. It's interesting that we got, you know, we did get those two, like, actually almost confronting Walt in this episode. Like, I thought this was going to be the thing, you know, like, with the crash scene where it's like, oh, it plays throughout the whole season, but nope, we just got right there. We got right to it. But it's interesting. Now I would imagine, okay, maybe this is cheating a little bit, but I'm looking at the description of this episode on Netflix, and it says 2 Mexican drug cartel hitmen who are looking for revenge, which technically, okay, maybe you guys might think that cheating, but it does line up with the 2 of them going to Tio. So it does line up with that, so you can, pretty much infer that. But it's also interesting the fact that they can be, like, pulled back by Gus, Like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that Gus has that kind of power, and power that he wants to use to help Walt, basically, Which, even Saul's doing that, too. Saul is actually, trying to pull his weight, He's basically, tossing his resources around to try to help Walt. Like, I don't think any of them really believe that Walt is out on the business, So... Which, that's the thing. He needs to get back to it, obviously. Well, first off, because the show needs to go on. Not that, technically the show doesn't revolve around him cooking. It just revolves around him. And, the trials and tribulations that he goes through in this show. It's not necessarily about cooking. It's not about cooking meth. But the guy does need to do it at least a couple more times before the show ends, which aren't there 5 seasons overall, so, maybe 10 more times I would feel like, at least, judging by how often they did it at least in season 2, which obviously I'm more familiar with than season 1, just because of everything. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing with this show is about Walt, So, Walt, who's losing it, man. It kind of makes me wonder, with him going in, and, Walt Jr. saying, like, oh, well, everyone is on your side. It's your house. I think that's honestly what he's thinking. I think that's honestly what he's thinking, is that it's his house, and he might be thinking if anyone should move out, it should be Skylar, which would be crazy, Because the thing is, and I think he's also taking into account, what Saul said when he's like, hey, she won't go tell anyone because it'll ruin her. Because, they'll lose all their possessions. The feds are going to come in, repo all their possessions, and then, kick them to the curb. And, Hank's going to lose out big time because, hey, there was a drug dealer right under your nose and you couldn't find him. And honestly, yeah, when you put it like that, that's a very interesting, like, level of protection, basically, So... yeah, pulling up the time, it's almost noon. Doctor Who's going to go up today. For any of you that are curious, today's episode is Doctor Who The Caretaker, Series 8, Episode 6. I'm about to post that, so yeah. Anywho. So yeah, so that's the thing, is that, it's a very interesting level of protection. You almost think that, you pretty much think that, okay, this is starting to get into Walt's head, like, oh, he has the protection, even, she can't even file a restraining order. Well, I mean, she can, but he might be thinking, well, it's my house, I'm taking the house back, basically. He might honestly try to get rid of her. It would actually be interesting if they actually, I said actually a lot just there, whatever. It would be interesting if maybe he didn't force her to leave, because, he wants the family to get back together, be an actual family again. It would be interesting if he, like, forced her to stay married and stay in the same house. Wow, that would be some shit, man. That would be some shit. She'd be fucking pissed, you know? I kind of want to see that, you know? I kind of want to actually see him, you know, play his cards back, you know? Because right now, we are at Skylar is holding all the cards. But I kind of want Walt to start playing a few cards. Cards that he has, you know? With Saul being a card. Saul, the nice man that helps them out. The guy that Saul knows. Gus, like, I want him to actually start playing some cards and, you know, actually win stuff back. Even though, honestly, for Skylar, she is completely justified. And honestly, she does need to get out of this relationship. She needs Walt to leave the fuck alone. But in the interest of, you know, fun, interesting television, I do kind of want Walt to fight back a bit, you know? Oh, man. But there is a time and a place for fighting back. Against a cop is not your best idea. So that's the first thing I wrote down in my notes is the windshield. Which, first off, it took him that long to really go get a new windshield. Like, are you crazy, man? You know? Which I like, you know, they make you forget about it because in that entire, like, opening, you know, it shows... I think it shows just slightly inside of the windshield. Or maybe they just don't even, like... Maybe for those particular shots, they swap out with a real, you know, non-broken windshield. But they make you totally forget it. So when he points out, it's like, your windshield. And then you just look over and it's like, oh yeah, that's just completely destroyed, you know? So, but yeah, and then, you know, Walt saying like, oh, I was in the, you know, the debris zone for the plane crash. And this guy is like, okay, I understand that is why your windshield is cracked. You should have gotten another one, though. You should have gone and gotten a new windshield, and because you didn't, I have to give you a citation. You understand why... You totally get why the cop would do this, you know? Now, if Walt had just taken it, then that's all it would have been was a citation. You know, it wouldn't have been super, super bad. Or hell... You know, maybe the guy could have let him off with a bit of a warning or something. I don't know. But obviously, you know, the way Walt goes about this is just not a good idea, you know? He goes about it where he's like, you know, he gets out, he starts yelling at the guy, and eventually gets pepper sprayed, which is pretty nuts. So, yeah. So that was interesting. And I was thinking that Hank was gonna chew him out, actually. Like, I was waiting for that. I was like, come on, are you gonna chew him out? Are you gonna chew him out for all, you know, for the shit he's doing? But no. You know, Walt plays the, well, I'm being divorced, and you know, she doesn't want me to see the kids, and I'm Richard Nixon. You know, he's trying to play that card, and Hank doesn't really want to be involved. Like, you know, he'll get in there sometimes. He'll try to wade in a little bit, but it's obvious that he doesn't want to be in this situation, and no one wants him to be in this situation. So, except for Marie. But, you know, I don't know. Fucking Marie. And I will say, as you know, I always say, is like, oh, fucking Marie. You know, I always say that, but honestly, any of her scenes are so much fun just because she is so weird. I love her. So yeah, let's see. I wrote down the house and Saul. So this was interesting that, you know, his parents actually renovated that house, Jesse's aunt's house that Jesse used to live in. And I was thinking like, oh, well, he could probably afford that. Because see, I was thinking that they were going to put it on the market for $400,000. And so that's just what my thought was. And I was like, oh, well, he has $480,000. There you go. He can afford that. And then, okay, so that was interesting. And then, you know, he goes to Saul. He counts all his money. He's like, I've got a job for you. It's like, you know, he's taking advantage of the fact that Saul is a lawyer. And, you know, he's a brilliant lawyer, too. because he's he's shifty, he's shady, he's kind of crooked, but Jesse uses that to his favor, which I really like. So yeah, that was really cool. And then just having, I love too, because Saul doesn't say that his client is Jesse, so Jesse can go throw it in their faces at the last second. So that was pretty cool. And then yeah, so they were gonna sell it. It was over $800,000. That house does not look like it should be $800,000. Like, I thought that was a little weird that it was $800,000 for that house. Now, granted, I guess they did all the renovations and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like that's still a little too much, but I don't know. So yeah, when Saul goes in, it's like, oh, well, $400,000. It's like, geez, that's, that is half as much money as, that's half of the, the price that they had. And, like they said, it's like, that's basically how much we put in for renovations. So honestly, they basically just broke even on this house, like they didn't make money. They didn't spend money, basically. They broke even on it. And then I just like that last second, that scene where, Jesse shows up and obviously, the mother's being the mother. And they're like, hey, you can't go in there. The new owners are going to be there any second. And Jesse's just like, I am the owner. Bye. And he just walks in, shuts the door. It's his house again, which is pretty cool. Because we haven't had that house. We didn't have that house in like almost all of season 2. For the most part, Jesse was living out of... Well, at first he was living out of the RV, and then he was living in the apartment, next to Jane. So, hey, now he's got the house back, which is pretty good. I hope that he lets Walt stay there, because Walt let him stay in his apartment. So, I don't know. That would be kind of cool if he let Walt stay there. And, I do love, too, because Saul brings up, like, oh, well, there was a meth lab. I can see why you wanted to hide the meth lab from any potential buyers. But yeah, it's right here. I mean, that definitely knocks down a few $100,000, First off, I just love anytime fucking Saul talks. It's amazing. Like, I could listen to this man talk bullshit for hours. It's awesome. Which I guess is the spin-off show. Better Call Saul. I assume that's just Saul talks bullshit for hours on end. I can only assume that's what it is. So, maybe we'll watch Better Call Saul after Breaking Bad. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We still got a lot of Breaking Bad to go through, though. So, yeah, it honestly makes me think, like, okay, so, they talk about the meth lab. Honestly, couldn't Jesse just do it again? Couldn't he put it in the meth lab again? I don't know. Maybe that would be cool. If it would kind of basically just return us to season 1 a bit, except probably Walt would be living there, I guess. So that's assuming that he's gonna offer for Walt to move in, which I hope so, because Walt took him in after rehab. So. Which at first, when he went back to the house, at first I thought he was going back to his apartment, next to Jane's old apartment. I was like, oh, don't do this. I don't want to see Donald again. But no, I think we're done with Donald now. I think he's just out there now. So yeah, I did like that. And then some more on Saul talking bullshit for hours. Wrote down won't say. That was interesting that, he, the way he's able to spin everything to be positive, So, him saying it's like, oh, well, she won't say anything because it would ruin her. They'd throw their family out, repo their house and everything. And, Hank would be defunct, basically. He would be out of his job because, you let a drug dealer just slip right under your nose, your brother-in-law, basically. So that was an interesting perspective on that. And, he says, that's why she hasn't said anything. And it's like, okay, maybe it is. Maybe, because, it's like, if she really was done with Walt's shit, she could turn him in, But, honestly, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why she hasn't actually said anything. So it kind of, I feel like that definitely puts it into Walt's mind. Maybe it's like her threatening is an empty threat, I think they're all planting things in Walt's mind, which is bad. Some good shit right there. Nothing like a Pepsi to start your day. Start my day. It's noon now. Well, it was earlier when we started the episode, but we watched an episode since then. I did write down bad guy, so that's interesting, kind of going off of what Jesse said last episode. Jesse was like, oh, I get it. I'm the bad guy. And Walt is now saying, I don't want to be the bad guy, which again, that does sort of play into what we talked about last episode, with Jesse saying, like, there's two kind of people. There's two ways that people deal with their problems. They either face their problems and take responsibility, or they run away from their problems. And Walt is definitely the runaway kind of guy. And that's part of it, is he says, I don't want to be the bad guy. Not what Jesse says, like, I am the bad guy. Maybe Jesse's not going to do bad guy things anymore. It's like, I'm not going to be the bad guy, but I am. It's like I'm not going to do these things, but I admit that I did them in the past. With Walt, it's I am doing these things, and I did do these in the past, but you're going to, I'm not going to say these out loud. I'm not going to admit to that, He doesn't want to be the bad guy, Which is, that's kind of the opposite of what Jesse was saying, Jesse owns up to it. I am the bad guy. And Walt runs from it and he says, I don't want to be the bad guy. Look at me. I'm such a good guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. I will never have a good Walter White impression. It is so ridiculous, but whatever. So just another thing of Walt just running from his problems, I wrote down Flynn. First off, man, that's the interesting thing with Flynn is, obviously in this he's written to have a condition and that affects his speech, but it almost like makes I don't know how to like say this, but when he like started leading up to that, when he was just like, why do you have to be such a bitch? And it's like, oh, right there, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, like, it's, because it's written in, it's like, okay, well, that's, because of his condition, sometimes he stutters and stuff, and it's like, yes, but that gave the perfect dramatic pause to just say, bitch, So, I really did like that, actually. As stupid as that sounds, I kind of like that. And then we had Flynn, who now, that's the crazy thing, too, is that now he has accepted the name Walter White Jr. It's like, oh, okay. That is a statement right there. That is a statement against Skylar. That is so crazy. And he showed up. He showed up to Walt's apartment. And, Walt he's trying to do the right thing. He's like, hey, he's here. I'll drop him off. Don't worry about it. But then, then he's got the pizza. He's got the pizza. But again, I think it's people planting things in Walt's head, from what Saul was talking about with, hey, she won't say a fucking thing, to, Flynn being like, hey, it's your house. Everyone is on your side. And it's starting to put things into his head. And that's why, he went to the bathroom, mouthwash, some cologne. He's trying to look good. And then he goes and gets the pizza. Thinks he can just walk in, And And yes, obviously the pizza didn't go over well, and he ended up throwing it on the roof, which was funny. That, I have to assume that took so many takes for him to... and then everything falls except that pizza that lands right on the roof. I have to assume that took so many takes. Because how do you deliberately throw something to where only a pizza lands on the roof? So, yeah. And then, obviously the next morning, Skylar calls like, there's a pizza on the roof. You need to calm your tits, man. So, God, I would love to hear Skylar say that. Like in her super serious way. It's like, Walt, you need to calm your tits. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. But yeah, people are planting things in his head, and it's starting to get to him. And yeah, at the end there, because even even Skylar to an extent is doing it, because when she's saying it's like, hey, you keep this up, I'm gonna get a restraining order. And so that is triggering all those thoughts in his head. It's like, hey, you can't get a restraining order on me. You can't turn me in. This is my house. Everyone is on my side, and you can't do crap. And so that's why he goes back in the end, with all his stuff. So, yeah. But yeah, she did threaten a restraining order, which is pretty crazy. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see next episode, because he's still there. I was hoping the dude, I wish we could get his name, but the dude, Saul's guy, I wish he would go in there and be like, well, you need to get the fuck out of here. This is not good. This is not going to help you in any way. You need to get out of here. Let's go. But I guess he's not being paid for that. He was paid to, bug the house, basically, for Saul, which was pretty cool, actually. So, yeah. I did write down Tio. They went back to Tio. So that does confirm that it's like, okay, these guys are going after Heisenberg because of what happened with Tuco. Now it's interesting. They're not going after Jesse, and they're not going after Hank either, because Hank was the one who actually killed Tuco. But ultimately, I think the blame can fall on Walt. I feel like you could also put that on Jesse, too. But I don't know. Maybe they were going to go to Jesse next. But they definitely were going to go for Heisenberg, at least. And Tio gave the name. I do like... Because, man, they do not talk. Like, none of them talked in that scene. I don't know. We've never seen these two hitmen talk, And then I like that, they got the Ouija board, and they were just pointing, and then he was, dinging when they crossed a certain letter. Write it all down, Walter White. There you go. So that was pretty interesting. A good use of Tio. Even though that bell fucking annoys me. That bell is actually a little annoying, but it worked out. It obviously serves its purpose. And then this was the last thing I wrote down, was the hitmen that actually they found Walt's house. They actually found Walt's house while he was there. Conveniently he was there. And I do like that they were nice enough to let him finish taking a shower. Like, that was actually pretty good. They didn't just go in and try to kill him while he was in the shower, But they actually were going to wait. They sat down and they waited. Just, one of them holding an axe, and that's it. So that was pretty cool. But then very interesting thing where Saul's guy calls someone who tells Gus about what's happening. Presumably then Gus would have to call the cartel, basically, the Mexican cartel, and be like, hey, lay off my guy. This is my guy, basically. And so they get the text, and it's like, oh, shit, fine. And then they leave. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want more of that. Like, this huge inner working that saved Walt, basically, Which, again, it does show that, it does show, because first off, Saul is concerned, about Walt, and obviously he wants him to still cook, and this also shows that Gus still believes that Walt will come back at some point. He still has confidence in Walt, basically. He doesn't buy that Walt is actually out of this. So I do like that. But that is pretty much all I wrote. We end the episode just on, probably on one of the more tense things, actually, is Walt is in there and he is living there like it is his home again. So we're going to have to see what that, leads to next episode just with Skylar. Which is crazy that him, pissing off his wife and being at home is incredibly tense. Almost as tense as Walt about to be killed by hitmen, So that's pretty crazy that this show can do that. That's both of those things are intense, So I hope. I don't know. I'm very curious though if he's gonna start playing some cards against Skylar. Even if she goes there and he's just like, "What the fuck are you gonna do? You gonna tell anyone, huh? This is my house." I can only imagine, but it is so terrifying to think about. Honestly, it's very interesting. It's an interesting situation where it's this thing is so scary and terrifying to see what's going to happen, but I'm very excited to see how it plays out. Is he going to start playing some cards against Skylar? That is our question going into next episode. So, yeah, I can't wait to get to that. But obviously, we will be watching that episode next week. So, am I doing too much with my hands? I always do stuff with my hands. So yeah, that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Breaking Bad reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.